Hello, and welcome back to another episode of Nomifactory GTCEU Extra Mode. So, um, last time, uh, shit, let's look at our quest here. Um, so we ended up having the SOCs in our, network from way before, and we got that quest done. Uh, wait, oh, okay. I believe we got wait, was it the last one that we did the epoxy stuff? I think so, if I remember correctly. So yeah, we got all of the epoxy stuff done. We got our advanced circuit and the SOC quest finished. And so I was just thinking here, the SOCs are going to be used for microprocessors and integrated processors, but we don't have access to the integrated processor one yet because we would need an IV circuit assembler, but we do have an EV circuit assembler. So I would want to be changing my microprocessor recipe to use SOCs instead, since it'll be cheaper. Um, as far as what I'm going to be doing in this session, I'm going to get the carbon fibers, the nano CPUs, and we're going to get this third and final tier 3 circuit, which is the nano circuit. And these nano circuits are going to be used in place of the processor assembler, which is these. So we'll be using the nano circuits once we can get to that step. We would be using this recipe right here. So let's head downstairs. Also, there was a couple things that I did do off stream. I went mining, and why are these impure piles here? That's kind of weird. Oh, right. I let me change this back to green. Is that gonna fix that? Okay. So, I did go mining. I went to the moon, and let's take a look at ingots here, right? So I'm actually, I forgot, when I initially went to the moon, I didn't know that it has a lot of gold. So I went back and saw that there's huge gold veins on the moon. So I went to town mining a bunch of gold ore, and now I pretty much gained 1,400 gold ingots, I think, after processing it all. So we've got a lot of gold. And I also got some more copper. We're at 1,500. Our iron's almost at 6,000 right now, so we're doing pretty good on that stuff. Um, and I was also processing some more tungsten. I think I got like at least 30 more of these tungsten ingots. I just threw a bunch of tungsten ore and uh, oops, forgot the G. So tungsten ore. Wait, that's not it. Tung Tungstate. Is that what it is? I think so. Yeah. So what I did was I took a stack of tungstate ore. Now, like you can do scheelite too, but I was getting a little low on scheelite, I think, so I just grabbed a stack of tungstate, threw it in the pulverizer, and you got obviously this stuff here. And then what I did, normally I pulverize again. However, this time I took the tungstate, instead of pulverizing again, I ore washed it to get the purified, and then I pulverized it to get the purified piles of tungstate. But the reason why I ore washed it was because I wanted some extra silver. So I got like from one stack of tungstate ore, I think I got almost a full stack of silver. So I got like an extra almost like, let's say 60 silver ingots from processing tungstate ore using that way of processing it. So, um, as I said before, well, actually, is there anything else that I did off stream? Uh, so I guess I set my sulfuric acid fluid emitter to actually, I had it at 1,000 buckets, but I put it to 1,500 just so we could have a little bit more sulfuric acid on stock. I did make a little bit more polyethylene, and then one other major thing I guess I did, we have a stock of phenol now. We've got 260 buckets of phenol. So I use the pyrolyzed oven over there, and we have the same, this distillery has been here. This was actually making hydrogen sulfide with a circuit of 2, but we changed it to 4. So now the tar is being converted into, as you can see, it's going here, and it just spit out phenol instead of um, hydrogen sulfide. So we've got that making us ourselves phenol because of course we needed the phenol over here. So as you can see, uh, we've got phenol here, but most of it's in the tank. But obviously for this phenol we needed for the bisphenol A, and the bisphenol A was going into here because we needed that for epoxy resin. Now, I did get a little bit more epoxy resin, not too much, but as you can see here, we've got 12 buckets of epoxy resin, which is um, enough for, I think like um, 83 circuit boards essentially, right? The advanced circuit boards. So we've got a decent amount of epoxy resin for these circuit boards now. A little bit. It's a start. Was there anything else? There was. I can't remember what it was right now. Wait. Did I do anything in here? No. But I was thinking, so yeah, this is gonna be where we're gonna be doing the nano circuits, right? Because it does need an EV circuit assembler in the clean room for those, and that's what this is right here. So, first things first, I am going to tackle the carbon fibers, which is not that difficult. Um, for simplicity, I think I'm probably just going to do the polyethylene for now. So, an ingot of polyethylene, which is 144 millibuckets, would do this operation 4 times. So you can get 4 raw carbon fibers with 1 ingot of polyethylene. Could theoretically use epoxy resin, and that's a 9 millibuckets to 4. So if I were to theoretically do that, I could get a whole stack of raw carbon fibers off of 1 ingot worth of epoxy resin if I wanted to do that instead. Um, but I think I'm gonna save the epoxy resin for actually making advanced circuit boards. So, um, yeah, polyethylene liquid in an autoclave with carbon dust. Now, I'm not sure how many raw carbon fibers I'm gonna need, but maybe I could just make a stack of 64 for now. Now, the raw carbon fibers are going to be used for the nano CPU wafers, which is the next step here. And then the nano CPU wafers are put into a cutting saw HV clean room, and you get the nano CPUs, which are then finally used in the nanocircuits. So, it's you make two at a time right now, and so let's say theoretically just run through a scenario here. Let's say we want to make 64 nanocircuits. You need 32 of these, so you need 4 nano CPU wafers. So yeah, let's make I guess we'll just make a whole stack of raw carbon fibers. May as well. And we're also gonna need CPU wafers for the nano CPU. So we'll make a whole stack of raw carbon fibers. And for that, we are gonna need 64 times 36. That's 2,304 millibuckets, which is 16 ingots. Wait, something's not right there. 64 times uh what? 64 times 36, 2304, 16. Oh wait, yeah, yeah. Yeah, that's right. Okay. For a second I thought that was wrong, but no. Work should be good. Okay, so um let's see here. Guess what I can do, or actually, I guess instead of doing that, I'll just grab it like, that grabbed the wrong thing. Okay, so we'll grab the polyethylene in liquid form like that instead of extracting the bars. And then, autoclave and raw carbon dust. So if we're going to be doing this 64 times, it is going to require 256 carbon dust, which is 4 stacks. And we don't have enough right now. What I'm gonna do is get some more by electrolyzing charcoal dust. Okay, so we do have charcoal dust auto-craftable, but we don't have, wait, missing charcoal? Wait, where'd all our charcoal go? What? There's no way we ran out of charcoal. What's going on over here? Is this thing working? Oh, shit. It needs maintenance. Ah, damn machine. Did we run out of charcoal because of this thing? Now it's, wait, this was producing charcoal, but it's got no charcoal now. What? Where is this charcoal going? I see it draining. That should have went in here. It's not destroying because obviously, where is that charcoal going? I see that emptying. It's going in here and then emptying? Does this, it's sucking all into here, I guess? Wait, here? But this isn't using charcoal that fast, right? There's no way that this was actually... This one has maintenance problems too, it looks like, actually. But, so this one uses how much at a time? Charcoal in the pyrolyze oven. I've never had it have that issue before. It uses 32 to make coal tar. You know what, let's go ahead and make it so it doesn't insert right now. Oops, that's not supposed to be there. We need to make it regain charcoal here. So now the charcoal should be going up. I'm gonna have to take a look at that later and see how all the charcoal actually disappeared, because I don't think it's using charcoal faster than this is generating charcoal. I mean, granted, it was using a stack of 32, right? Um, every how many seconds? 32 seconds. So it's only one charcoal a second. That's not bad, I guess. Huh, that's strange. But yeah, I'll let that charcoal build up here. We've still got to get more carbon dust here. Um, we'll make a stack of 64 here in a second. Get some more carbon. 64. Okay. Then we're gonna electrolyze this stack here. I could add a interface to the electrolyzer and then I can just have it auto craft. Wait. Oh, that charcoal dust. I think I know where that's going right now. It's going over here, right? Yes, it is. I was like, where's the charcoal going? Not another thing disappearing. Okay, so that's giving us carbon dust. How much? We needed 256 for this. Charcoal. Okay, so that's all done. Got 195. Let's make another stack of 64, I guess. Is that gonna get us enough? I think so. Damn it, the carbon dust is, or the charcoal dust is going over here again. Maybe I can put, uh, what is it? Robot arm here to make it so it only keeps, let's say, 64 charcoal in there instead of having a double stack, I guess. So we don't really need a double stack in there of charcoal dust. So let's go ahead and electrolyze this. And grab carbon. Okay, so yeah, it should be 4 stacks that we're gonna need. There we go. So we've got 4 stacks of carbon, 256 carbon. Now we need to go to the autoclave. We have to also get, right, the polyethylene, which we have in our inventory. Okay, so carbon, take the water out, put polyethylene in. And luckily it's only 2 seconds for each one, so it's somewhat fast. Although we would have to do this, yeah, 64 times, so it'd take about 2 minutes for it to finish. Okay, so while that's doing the raw carbon fibers, right? Oops, I pressed F7 on accident. Wait, F7? Oh, I'm pressing F8, duh. Okay, let's put more in there. So we're getting the raw carbon fibers. The nano CPU wafers, we need, we're gonna do 4 CPU wafers and 16 glowstone. So let's get some glowstone. Wait, did I say 16? Yeah, 16 glowstone. And we're gonna throw that in the extractor. And I think that's going into our, uh, one of our storage cells. Yeah, the energized glowstone's there. Okay. Alright, so that's getting finished. We're getting our glowstone. And then, oh right, the CPU wafers. I did make some off stream because I knew we were gonna need it. So I Got 4 CPU wafers right here. I was also making more circuit boards off stream. These ones. I just made another 32, so I didn't have to worry about running out necessarily. Okay, so this is done. Let's get that polyethylene. And also unmute Minecraft because it's muted right now. Okay. Actually, we'll put the water back in there. We don't need that in our inventory. This one. Okay. So, we've got the CPU wafers, the raw carbon fibers, and the last thing we need is the glowstone, which is, I guess that's what we need, 2304, I think so. Okay, so now we put all of that in a chemical reactor, EV clean room, which I believe we did not actually make yet. So, we're gonna have to do that and then hook it up over here somewhere. Let's get ourselves an EV chemical reactor. Luckily, we have it auto-craftable. So it's just as simple as requesting it as long as we have everything, which we don't. We're missing 4 Canthal. Um, okay, so we can just auto-craft. Well, actually, I guess it makes 6, so we'll just actually do 6. Use up all of the dust, may as well. Okay, so that'll make us some Canthal ingots soon enough. The blast furnace should be turning on. There it is. Okay, so while that happens, uh, let's make sure. So we do have. Do we have a cutting saw in there at HV, right? I'm pretty sure it's HV, right? Yeah. Okay. Perfect. So that part is good. Okay, there's our Canthal. One more. There we go. Oops, chemical EV and start. There we go. Taking 6 plastic circuit boards. Good thing I made 32 more. Yeah, so we won't be making processor assemblies anymore once we get nanocircuits going. We'll swap all of those out to nanocircuits. And that means we won't need integrated processors, at least not for the processor assemblers, because that's what they take. But the nanocircuits do not require that, of course. So this will take probably another 30 seconds maybe. 30 seconds to a minute. And we'll get that hooked up in there. And get our nano CPU wafer made. Okay, 464 and yeah. Yep, we've got everything. Just waiting on this. Last 2 things pretty much. Just give it another 15 seconds, maybe 20. Okay. Last little thing here. The workstations. Those take 20 seconds, I guess. So it'll be a little bit extra. shouldn't be stuck. Wait, is it gonna get stuck on those? It did get stuck. It is finished. I just don't have this outputting properly right now. So we've got to have item auto output enabled, and we've got to get it set to face up. And we've got to make sure that this is set to allow input. Okay. So there is our chemical reactor. Um, so I'm wondering if I want to make an end steel wire. So here is our circuit assembler. I guess we can put this here. That should be fine. Okay, so that's got power. And we take this, and this in there. And I guess it's gotta be not a circuit. Oh, it did start. Okay. I didn't see this stuff drop down. I thought it was not starting, but it did. So it looks like it takes 60 seconds, 2000 EU per tick being used right now. But we should be just fine on our energy down here, since we've got a lot of turbo gas turbines, 16 of them. And yeah, it looks like we're doing just fine. We're not gonna lose any power, since we can go up to 32K. Plenty to spare. This one's almost done. There is a nano CPU wafer. And we reached a goal for doing that. And then we throw this into the cutting machine and wait 90 seconds. And then we shall have our first nano CPU. Well, 8 technically. We'll get 8. And then finally the nano circuit. Let's actually get the nano circuit process or pattern made while that stuff is going. Not LUV. We want, I think that one, right? Yeah. I don't think we can make the advanced stuff yet. Looks like those are Ivy and graphene, so we can't do that. So we'd be doing this one right here. Go ahead and encode that. And then we've actually got to get it hooked up. So let's grab interface. That'll start doing stuff here. I like how it definitely works on quite a few things at the same time. If it can, that is. It can do a lot of stuff at the same time with how I guess I have it set up right now. Pretty much everything's finished already, besides these two things. There we go. So we've got an ME interface. And let's get some fluids, because I think we're going to need that. And let's head over here. This one done? Yes, but it went into our network. So there is 8 nano CPU wafers, or not wafers, the actual nano CPUs. And so let's go ahead. This is obviously going to go in here. Why did I think I needed an ME for an interface? I forgot. This one already has an interface on top of it. I mean, theoretically, I can put it on top of the chemical reactor if I want. But, I mean, the only issue that I'm thinking is Sure, I can put this autocraft in there, but then I have to keep it stocked with energized glowstone if I want it to be dedicated, I guess, to making nano CPU wafers as an example. And then we'd have to get these things auto-craftable too, which I certainly can. I just don't know if I want to do that right now. So let's go ahead and put the rest of these in there so that keeps going. Okay, so with the nano CPUs, there is the nano circuit. And let's see, can we do this? Yes, we can. Looks to be fine. Let me try 16, for example. Now it says we're missing carbon dust. Gallium. Okay, we need gallium foil. Right. Um, then polyvinyl chloride. So what is using the carbon? I'm wondering. It would have to be the... I'm confused. Where does the carbon come from? Why does it need carbon for nano circuits, I mean? The only thing it could be is it making a capacitor, transistor, resistor? Ah, maybe one of those require, maybe? Resistors. Right. Okay, so let's go ahead and do this then. I guess I could have just hit that. And then of course, some of the charcoal dust is gonna go into the thing over there. Speaking of, I can make a robot arm if I want. Because it gets kind of annoying. Okay, why is there 63 here? That's kind of weird. I did request 128, I think. So we should have 2 full stacks. Robot arm is still being made. Oh, it's making steel. The steel should be finished, right? Is it getting stuck on the steel for some reason? Is there no oxygen over there? Could have sworn I thought there should be. Blast furnace isn't on. Oh, we've got helium in there right now. I guess we had helium in there at some point for... Let's take that out. Now we've got to get oxygen back in there. Oh, our oxygen. Oxygen, oxygen. Okay. There we go. So that's good. Now let's get our robot arm and fix that little situation over there. Okay, so which side do I put this on? Export, import. So I think it'd be the top side, right? Yes. 'Cause I don't. Wait. There's already an MV robot arm. What? I forgot. Keep exactly 64. Hey. 64. Okay, so let's just test this out. If I put this back into the system. Okay, good. Staying at 64 now. Perfect. I just had to. Why? Why is I only seeing 63 here, bro? I had 64. Where did the other one go? What? That makes no sense. I don't know how one of the charcoal dust just disappeared. Huh. How peculiar. Okay. So we're getting more carbon right now. Grab this stack and then we should be good. Um. Oh, right. We were trying to make nanocircuits, right? Were we trying to make 16? Yes. I think I'll make 16 nanocircuits for now. I don't know. I don't know what. Wait, let's see. Can I make 32? No, because we don't have enough circuit boards, advanced circuit boards. So we'll do 16 for now. How much bytes is that? 736. That's not too bad. Okay. So the nanocircuits are being made. We've got to wait for a lot of capacitors, transistors, and resistors. And it's doing the wires. Okay. So soon enough we'll have some nanocircuits. And then also to look at all of the stuff that requires the assemblers. Oops, LER. You can see here, wait, inputs, right? Huh? I don't know why it's not assembler. Oh, assembling. Assembly, that's why. Okay. Duh, not assembler, assembling. Um, so all of the stuff that is highlighted pretty much is going to be stuff that has processor assembly in the pattern. So if we're going to request any of the stuff that is highlighted, we definitely want to swap it out to nanocircuits instead of processor assemblies. Now, as you can see, most of it is HV machines here, um, but definitely the patterns would be something that we're going to be making. So we'll do that, and then obviously the 16K and 64K will be potentially doing at some point, especially if we do want to make the singularity, of course, we'd have to make the 64K. Um, but I've put that on hold for now because I added the boosters, so as long as I can access it from pretty much anywhere in my base, I'm good for now. Unless I want to start accessing in other dimensions or super far away. Um, I might need, if I don't know. Uh, I'll definitely do the patterns, and then as far as these other HV machines go, I might swap some of them out, or might do it on a as needed basis, like just swap it out, as long as I remember that is. But anyways, the nanocircuits are coming in. We've got 10 of them now. Let's go ahead and grab one and get the quest complete. There we go, the third and final tier 3 circuit. And we got this challenge thing here too. So, that's 3 quests knocked out right there. Now, I don't know how much more I'm going to be doing here because I did start a little bit late today, so I'm planning on making this one a little bit shorter. And so I was doing a little bit of research on, I guess, so, oh, that reminds me again real quick. So I did some research on the large gas turbine. I went into a separate world and tested it out. I I built the turbine on a separate world and put in the HSSG turbine rotor, supplied it with nitrobenzene, and I fired it up. I pretty much determined that as far as fuel usage went, it was using about 6 buckets of nitrobenzene every minute, is what I was seeing when it was running at full speed. It did take a little bit for it to get to full output, but another important thing that I did learn is that, let's say it was outputting 8,400 EU per tick. Um, Now let's look at the energy hatches, right? Um, so obviously, to handle that, you would need an LUV energy hatch to handle the full output. But I tested it with an EV and IV energy hatch, and so nothing bad happened, right? It didn't explode or anything like that. Um, the only thing is if you use a lower energy hatch than what it's outputting, I guess obviously you're still using the same amount of fuel, but you're only getting up to how much ever the energy hatch can handle. So if it can output 8,400, but you have a EV energy hatch in there, 6,000 of it is just going to be, it's only going to output 2,000, and it's still using the same amount of fuel. So it's like you're using 6 buckets of nitrobenzene for only 2,048 EU per tick outputted. So, which, I mean, 6 buckets a minute is a good significant chunk compared to my turbo gas turbines right now, which, uh, I mean, they're not all running it right now because they don't need to be all running. But like, you can see the nitrobenzene, it trickles down a little bit, but it's not necessarily using, I don't think it's using anywhere close to, for example, 6 buckets right now. Um, and maybe they're outputting like 10,000 RF per tick maybe right now. Now, if it was doing, I don't know if the turbine can also, I think it only runs like, it's not like efficient, I guess, like when it comes to like these, where if it only needs to be running this one's not even on because it doesn't need to be. So it's not using nitrobenzene. Whereas if the turbine's running, it's one machine and it's either running or it's not essentially. So it's either using like 6,000 buckets a minute or it's not. So we're getting like 9,000 RF per tick right now, which is gonna be handled by like, um, I guess it could be handled by like 4 large gas turbines, or turbo gas turbines, I mean. So that was a little bit of research done on the large gas turbine. At least I was able to determine that you don't need an LUV energy hatch, but it's a good idea to be able to handle the output so that way you're getting the full energy for the essentially the amount of gas that you're putting into it. But that being said, if you're using 6 buckets of nitrobenzene a minute, you better hope that you have a good um, source of all the stuff that goes into nitrobenzene. By that I mean generation. So that's almost like you need 5 buckets of benzene being produced per minute, essentially. Um, Not quite 5, maybe let's say 4 buckets of benzene. And obviously I'm not producing that right now. I would need to upgrade my benzene production if I wanted to support 6 buckets of nitrobenzene being used a minute. Anyway, so um, one thing that I am going to eventually have to get into after looking into it, um, is this way up here, which is called platinum group processing. And this is a whole little process here, but essentially, just based off reading it here, it lists a bunch of different things here, right? And it says all of these elements will be used in IV tier and above materials. And iridium is one of the things that I remember seeing that you need for the IV energy hatch. So you can see iridium wire here, which is obviously going to require iridium ingots. And that's pretty much going to be a whole process here. I don't remember how you get, uh, so the PC, whatever it's called, platinum group processing. Can we search for that? How do we, trying to think here. How do we get this? Ruthenium. Electrolyzed, no. Um, that's that Ruidid thing, I saw that before. Ruthenium tetroxide? Iridium. Dust. Ah, now we're back to that spot again. How do we get... Obviously, I don't know if we can get that ore. I mean, at least right now, I don't think we can. Um, but I know there is a way to do this PCP thing. Is it through this? Wait, hydrochloric ammonia gets you that. Oh, acidic iridium dioxide. We can't do that. Just we would need this. Just oh, iridium metal residue. I remember seeing that. Rarest metal. Okay. This is what I was thinking about. Iridium group sludge, right? And then platinum group residue. Residue, sludge, aqua regia. Okay. I think I found the whole chain here. So you can take any of these purified ores. There's 6 of them. Chalcopyrite, sheldonite, tetrahedrite, bornite, chalcocite, and pendlantite. So you take the purified with nitric acid in a chemical reactor at LV and you get, well, platinum group sludge and 1 bucket of, depending on which one you use, you'll get 1 bucket of, some sort of solution of that kind of ore. And as far as the liquid goes that you get, I guess you would electrolyze it, whatever one you get. And in this one, you get copper solution into copper dust, oxygen, and sulfuric. If we do a different one, nickel, you'd get nickel, oxygen, and sulfuric. So I think you always get oxygen and sulfuric plus 1 dust of whatever the solution is, either copper or nickel, it looks like. So either 1 copper dust or 1 nickel with the oxygen and sulfuric. So that's that. And then I guess sheldonite is actually the best, at least according to the quest, and also from what I can see here. Sheldonite is going to get you 4 platinum group sludge, whereas the rest are only going to be 2. So this one is the best in terms of getting this per craft. And so with the platinum group sludge, right, you would take that, put it in a chemical bath with aqua regia, and then you would get platinum group residue. and it's a 3-to-1 ratio here. And you would also get whatever platinum palladium leachate is. I haven't figured out what you do with this yet, but the platinum group residue, right? I guess I don't know if you can do anything with the, right, can we chemical bath it? I think we could do either. So this gets you iridium group sludge, and this gets you iridium group sludge. However, this one only gets you one thing. If you blast furnace it, wait. You do get 2,000 bucket, or 2 buckets of rhodium sulfate. Um, and the rhodium sulfate can get you this stuff, zinc sulfate and crude rhodium residue. Um, and then this potassium sulfate. What do we do with potassium sulfate? Electrolyze? Chemical react? I'm not actually sure what you would want to do with this stuff. Wait, oh. Rhodium sulfate gets you... Huh. We can get more iridium group sludge with these. If you get 6 of them, you can chemical bath it to get more of these. Okay. It's a blast furnace at MV Cupernickel. So let's just say we do the blast furnace route, right? Oh, right. Don't we also need potassium pyrosulfate? Whereas this one... Oh, that's the other recipe that I was just looking at. Potassium pyrosulfate. How do we get potassium pyrosulfate? Oh, right there. Okay, so 7 to 11. Oh, okay. So you get 14 of these. If you electrolyze the 14, you would get 22 potassium pyrosulfate. Of course, you do need sulfur trioxide, but you'd have 22 of these, which you can then put into this, right? And then you would get even more. You would get 28 potassium sulfate after that. But getting the potassium pyrosulfate in the first place is going to be... I mean, you can't do this initially, right? You have to get this to get this, but there is another way to get it, uh, potassium, pyrosulfate, so what I was looking at. So, obviously, you do get potassium sulfate from this, but if you don't have that, I guess you have to do the bisulfate, which to get the bisulfate, it looks like it's either going to be rock salt or saltpeter, and then that gets you potassium bisulfate. And then you take 14 of those, get potassium pyrosulfate in the chemical reactor, and that's how you can do it, I guess, the first time. And then the rest of the time you can just use this potassium sulfate that you get as the output. Um, so going past this step, right? The next step, once you get the iridium group sludge, I guess you put it in the blast furnace again with soda ash, and you get sodium ruthenate, ashes, and rarest metal mixture, which is what I was looking at. Rarest metal mixture in the chemical bath with hydrochloric gets you iridium metal residue and acidic osmium solution, which I guess you might want to distill, and it's the same recipe here, so definitely a regular distillery at EV. Gets you osmium tetroxide and hydrochloric 2 buckets, and then if you want, you can always chemical react with this stuff to get osmium dust, and water. But going back here, we were looking at this iridium metal residue. The iridium metal residue goes again into the blast furnace with sodium peroxide, and we'll get to this stuff over here in a second. We don't really care about the sodium dust right now. But for the sodium peroxide, right, that is going to be sodium hydroxide and hydrogen peroxide in a chemical reactor. And that's going to be annoying because we'll have to... So the sodium hydroxide is not that hard to get. It's just salt water, so that's easy. But then the hydrogen peroxide is going to be annoying because I don't think we can get this. Definitely not possible right now. So we can't do that. We have to do, the only other option is an LCR. And these don't get consumed in the process at the very least. So whatever this is, we only have to get one of them. The palladium dust I think is going to be pretty easy. I think we can just get that from ore, which we do have some palladium ore somewhere. And then this, I have no idea. We have oxygen and hydrogen. So really it's just this that we have to figure out how. And you get 30 at a time, it looks like. And we only need one, at least right now. So that means we're going to need ethylbenzene and phthalic anhydride dust. And so ethylbenzene is, I guess, either coal gas in the distillery or coal gas in the distillation tower. So we're going to need coal gas for sure. But I don't think we need that much unless we're going to need a bunch of these, or if we need the coal gas for something else. As far as the phthalic anhydride dust goes, vanadium pentoxide, maybe. Phthalic acid, no. Naphthalene, vanadium pentoxide again. Okay, so a lot of it's stemming from this vanadium pentoxide, it looks like, right? Yeah. So we can get this. We have vanadium dust. We have oxygen. So what we'll do is do vanadium dust and oxygen in a chemical reactor to get that. And then we'll get a tiny pile of it. I guess maybe. Oh, 45K, but that gives you a lot of this stuff. Um, if you want to do a tiny pile, it's 5K, and then we would need naphthalene, which is, of course, as I said before, the coal tar. So, I think we're already getting coal tar right now, aren't we, from our pyrolyzed ovens? Maybe. I'll double check, but I'm pretty sure we are. So, that gets that, of course, and then we can get that in a chemical reactor at EV. And then once we have this dust and the palladium dust, combine it with oxygen and hydrogen in a large chemical reactor, get the hydrogen peroxide, and then combine it with sodium hydroxide in a chemical reactor. Then we finally have the sodium peroxide dust, and then finally, now we put that in the blast furnace with iridium metal residue and get iridium dioxide residue dust. And then I guess we've got to mix it with hydrochloric, and then we get acidic iridium dioxide solution. And I'm assuming somewhere we're going to get something that we're going to want. Uh, where does this go? Oh, there's iridium dust. Okay, I think that's what we're going for. Okay, so now, once you have the acidic iridium dust, we need ammonium chloride dust, which is ammonia and hydrochloric in a chemical reactor with a circuit of 5. And that gets that. And then we put that with the acidic iridium dioxide solution, chemical reactor, and we get a small pile of platinum group residue with a question mark at the end of the chemical formula, water, and ammonium hexachloride dust. And then this will finally, I think, get us the dust that we want. And this is an IV chemical reactor. Hydrogen plus 9 of these dust gets us hydrochloric, ammonia, and iridium dust, which then, of course, the main point, I guess, of that, we're going to put it in a blast furnace with or without argon. Just changes the time pretty much and total energy essentially. And so you get hot iridium ingot, which you'll then vacuum freeze. And then finally, the end, we have iridium ingots, which of course we're going to need in the, at least initially, I believe we need the fine iridium wires for if we want to, the insane voltage coils, which can then be used for uh, an IV energy hatch if we wanted to. Um, but I know iridium's, it's got to be used for other stuff too. But this, as you can see, it is quite the process, and it's not going to be a fun process to get everything set up. But at least we got a little preview of what exactly it is that we're going to have to do to get iridium, for example. And I don't know if iridium is a quest or something like that. Um, a lit. That's it. Looks like it's in late game somewhere. No, not that yellow. Right here. So this says iridium is an advanced material used for microminers and for alloying with osmium and osmiridium. Um, this ore and this ore, the two sources of iridium, are available renewably from the Tier 5 and Tier 6 microminer. So I guess that will be an easier way. So once we get access to these ores from these Tier 5 and Tier 6, it looks like it would be easier to get iridium. Let's take a look at those microminers, because I'm curious. Micro miner, Tier 5. So this is what goes into the Tier 5. But as you can see, to even make the Tier 5 microminer, we're going to need double iridium plates. So a decent source of plates, ingots. This is a total of 3, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 24 ingots to make the, oh, I guess it's called iridium plated microminer. Okay. And then the Tier 6 one is enderium plated. So I don't think you need uh, iridium for that one, only this one, which gets you, let's see what you can get with this tier 5 microminer. There's two here. So the first one, I guess, is some ores, a lot of snow chestite, it looks like. And then the second one, which if you use stabilized uranium, you get uranite, ender pearl blocks, monazite, sphalerite. Oh, here's those two. You only get 6 of each. It's not a stack of 64. Boron, fluorite, beryllium. Okay. So 6 of these, I think we can get, off of 6 of those, we can get, I don't know how much iridium we can get off of that. Okay, it's a 5-to-1 ratio for the dust. Let's see about this. What happens if you ore wash? I'm just curious. If you ore wash, you have another chance at getting iridium. And then finally, oh, you get this. We can get double though. Okay, so, It's a 5 to 1. So I think this is a total of 24 of the dust divided by 5. You can almost get 5 iridium off of this in total. So that's not exactly ideal, but guess it is what it is. You can't take the iridium that you get from this, I guess, and make another tier 5 microminer to get more iridium. You'd be losing iridium, I guess, is what I'm thinking. Um, that was a lot of information that we just went over. Um, let's get out of this late game stuff. We're not gonna go into that stuff right now. Really? So, I'm going to, let's see. We are an hour in right now. So, I guess the next things that we could potentially tackle at some point in the near future, not the large gas turbine, because uh, I don't know. I don't think we necessarily need it right now, especially since we have added 8 turbo gas turbines for an extra 4096 EU per tick. If we want, we could tackle the IV machine holes, so at least we have the first steps at IV, or we could do the tungsten carbide, and obviously you need that for the tier 3 microminer, but my main concern, I guess, is so obviously there's a couple things that you can get from it. I don't think I care about the dense magma blocks, at least not right now. There is this one with gemstone sensor, which is IV. So I guess we would need tungsten, steel, iridium. So we can't make the gemstone sensor, so that one's out of the question. It'd pretty much just be this stuff then, which is scheelite, tungstate. So we'd get a bunch of more tungsten stuff, right? Um, stuff for titanium, vanadium slash magnetite, copper, tin, redstone, certez, and then these guys, which you pretty much are gonna electrolyze. Wonder what happens if you ore wash. Oh, right. Oh, hmm. Okay, so I guess it'd probably be a double pulverized. But the almandine dust is silicon, iron, and aluminum and oxygen, which is, alright, I guess. And then the lepidolite is lithium, okay. So the lithium, or lepidolite, is aluminum, lithium, and potassium. You do get fluorine and oxygen for this one. A little bit better, I guess. Um, our fluorine is still at 520 right now. So, I don't know, I mean, yeah, sure, the scheelite and tungstate gonna be useful for getting tungsten, more tungsten. And then the other stuff is just, you know, I mean, copper is definitely gonna be useful. We do have a decent amount of tin, and we don't go through tin too quickly. Um, redstone, I suppose that could be useful. Certus quartz, somewhat useful. I mean, we do have a decent amount right now. We have 653, so we're not in danger of running out of it anytime soon, hopefully. And then the other ones are just, the electrolyzing stuff. And we still have some stuff in here from the tier 2 microminer. I did take some stuff out. I might end up processing these scheelites and tungstates though, so that we can get more tungsten. I did process a stack of it. And then the sphalerite, this is going to be useful for getting some more gallium dust if we need it. Although right now we are at 25 gallium dust, so we're not necessarily going to run out anytime soon, I don't think, but we can always get more. And then the pyrochlor, I guess the only thing that you can do with the pyrochlor is chemical bath it. Now you do get fluorite, which of course we can get fluorine from that, but it is really easy to get fluorite ore on the moon. So, I mean, it's not the biggest deal. I guess the bigger question is, what do you do with the niobium pentoxide and tantalum pentoxide? Well, this one, I guess you only have a choice of electrolyzing it to get oxygen and niobium dust, which I guess you can get this dust. You can get niobium ingots. Now, I don't know what we're going to be doing with niobium ingots besides mode of omnium so far. Um, and then there's this dust, which I guess you can get that. And I don't know what you do with this yet. Um, foil, wire, assembler, maybe some later game stuff, I guess. LUV maybe, or ZPM for that stuff. Doesn't look like it's going to be useful anytime in the near future, I don't think. So I'm not too anxious to process it into something that we're going to be using. And then the bauxite, if I remember, that is for rutile also. But not as good as the ilmenite, of course. So, um, yeah, a lot of this was, we started with some quests, but then a lot of it was just going to be going over some information this time to figure out and sort of illustrate the process of what we're going to have to be doing at some point soon as far as the PGP goes here. And then, well, I don't know if we want to do the tier 3 micro miner like I said, but then also potentially getting into the IV machine holes, which these are going to require PTFE for every single one. We need, oh wait, no, never mind, scratch that. We're not going to need any PTFE because we're not doing the crafting recipe. We're going to be doing the assembler recipe. Actually, scratch that again. I forgot the liquid is down here. You do need PTFE. It just moves down here instead of up here. So it's going to be 8 tungsten steel plates, 2 1 times platinum wire cables, and 2 ingots worth of PTFE. So it's like the same thing pretty much if you did this in terms of PTFE. And so I do have some PTFE from left over from the large chemical reactor. We've got 3,672 millibuckets. So that is enough for 12 IV machine holes. But I might end up having to make more, especially if we're going to be making more IV machine holes, or if we're going to be making essentially, you know, another large chemical reactor or something like that, then we're going to need more PTFE. So we'll come to that when we cross that bridge. But for now, I think I am going to wrap up. It is quite late here right now, especially since I started late. We've gone over an hour into this, and we started late. So, yeah. So like I said, next time, I think I might tackle. Uh, maybe I'll tackle the PGP stuff here. Either that, or I could always do the IP machine hole. That is going to be pretty quick, considering it's just this stuff, which we already have that. We can make that. We can make that. So it's really going to be pretty quick to knock out the IV machine hole. Um, Tungsten carbide, real quick here. It's tungsten carbon, so again, that's going to be really quick to make a tungsten carbide ingot. Um, it's just a matter of whether we think we're going to do something with it as far as, like, let's say the microminer goes, or use it for something else. Then, you know, if I need it for something, I might be like, oh, okay, I'll make that. But I'm not going to necessarily prioritize the quest unless I'm going to be using it for something, like if it's a component of something else, essentially. Um, One other thing that I saw, though, real quick here, I saw that for the blue steel drill, which is the one that I'm currently using, um, right, let me look at something here real quick. Uh, okay. So I have the MV blue steel drill, which is this one right here, and it has a 3x3x3 area of effect and 4096 durability. I was looking at some of the other drills and I noticed, I was like, oh, those have bigger area of effects. And initially I thought it was like, oh, that must be because it's a higher tier drill, like a better material. But then I was like, oh, wait, I found out that there is a couple different things here that, so all of these ones are blue steel drills and these ones too. All blue steel drills, but this one is a low voltage, aka the power unit. So that's why it has less durability and it has a less area of effect in terms of how much it can mine. Mine does 3x3x3, this does 3x3x1, and it's also 1000 durability less. Um, this one, HV, is a step up. It has an extra 1000 durability, and it goes from 3x3x3 to 5x5x5. So this is literally 27 blocks mined, and this, it's literally, wait, yeah, 27 and then 125. That's actually insane, right? Yeah. Mine only does, it'll mine 27 blocks at a time. This does 125 blocks at a time for the HV, which is an actually huge amount from one click. And then if you do an EV, it's a 7x7x7. So that one mines 343 blocks with one click. And well, if you really want to go to IV, you can for a 9x9x9, and you can mine 729 blocks at a time per click. You can just mine out the whole chunk pretty much. Because, well, in reality, a chunk is a 16 by 16 by 16. So this literally, one click can almost mine the whole chunk with this. A good part of the chunk. 9/16 of the chunk. Which is, this will mine 56% of a chunk with one click. 2 clicks, that whole chunk will just be deleted with this. Now, I imagine that it would go through the durability somewhat quick if you just start mining 9x9x9s. Um, but I potentially thought about upgrading mine, potentially, uh, a little bit, but it's not like the highest priority, I guess, but I thought about it. But anyways, I think that's enough of that. Um, Enough talking. We've looked at some stuff, and I think we're gonna be ready to wrap up here now. Uh, my ingots are, I guess, still looking fine here. So, yeah, I think we're gonna wrap up, and that's it for now. Thank you for watching, and I will see you next time. Bye for now.